Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the NBA slate for Tuesday. We have 7 games tonight, so let's go ahead and get into it. A couple days left before the All-Star break. Try to make the most of it. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it for the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully, Giannis plays today. Him, going from probable to doubtful wasn't super surprising. We've seen it happen a lot yesterday. But it just made me get off of some of the other guys that I had originally, like Julius Randle, which was not fun as he had a triple-double. Looking at the point guard position today, you have Luka Doncic. He's $12,000. Dinwiddie's going to play in this one, so we don't know how much that's going to... It's probably not going to take away much from Luka. I mean, Dinwiddie's also not been super high usage player when Beal was in there, so you expect him to be even less of a high usage player with playing next to Luka if he is starting. But Luka's just been awesome. The only concern you have is the matchup is tough going into Miami. There's no Harden. Ja Morant is questionable. That will be very important. If he's not able to play, you're going to be looking at a lot of good options on the Memphis side, especially like Tyus Jones at $3,200. Melton would look really good. Desmond Bane, even though he's almost $7K. Anderson and Jaren Jackson, they would all look like good plays. Hopefully, Ja Morant plays, so we don't have to worry about that too much. I like Trae Young at 93. His price tag has come down a little bit on DraftKings. He was over 10K, 98, 99, 98, so we're getting a nice price tag for a guy that has been playing big minutes, takes a ton of shots. He's really been solid with the assist as of late, getting a double-double. And there's a chance that there's no Bogdanovic, who's questionable. There already are short John Collins, so there should be a lot on the shoulders for Trae Young tonight. LaMelo Ball, this game has like a 244 total. You're probably going to want to get at least one piece, if not multiple pieces from this game. Both teams play no defense. They play super fast. Should be very high scoring. Ball was in foul trouble last game, so he played just 33 minutes. They were down big against the Grizzlies, and they kind of mounted a comeback late in the game. But I still like LaMelo Ball without Gordon Hayward, without Martin. They're just playing like 8 guys in the rotation, and the starters are playing super heavily. Minus... like Plumlee is splitting time with the backups, Washington and Harrell. Kelly Oubre's been struggling a little bit, so we saw his minutes come down a bit last game. But you're getting huge minutes from LaMelo, Bridges, and Rozier. Those are the 3 that you can really count on. Rozier's had back-to-back almost triple-doubles. Had one 2 games ago, just missed one by 1 assist last game. He's been playing awesome. The price tag has jumped up on him, but given how many minutes he plays, the matchup is so good, I think you can definitely get to him. You have Halliburton at 85. Halliburton and Hield have played 40 minutes in each of the 2 games that they've played for the Pacers, which is a lot more, especially for Buddy Hield. Wasn't playing much coming off the bench for Sacramento, but they've gotten huge minutes. And this game is a back-to-back for Milwaukee, but Giannis should be back, hopefully, which will make it a little bit tougher, obviously. But I do like Halliburton at 85, given how much usage he has and playing just 40 minutes a night. Going further down a little bit, you can look to Kyle Lowry at 64, just without Tyler Hero, who's not going to play today. You're going to get a little bit more usage, a little bit more minutes for Kyle Lowry. And if Butler's also questionable. If Butler misses as well, then definitely going to be looking at Kyle Lowry's way. And then in the value range, basically, if there is no Ja Morant, you're going to be looking at some of the guys like Tyus Jones would be a core play at 32. He'd probably start. Otherwise, there's not too much I'm going with. At shooting guard, no Harden. He's still out until after the All-Star break. Halliburton is 85, is the most expensive player, but I do prefer him over like Jaylen Brown, over Ingram. I think Booker looks good as well, but Halliburton just playing a ton of minutes. You're getting a point guard that you're plugging in at the shooting guard, so a chance for him to get another monster game with the assists. In 8K, Anthony Edwards, he looks good. They're all healthy now. Last game we saw Cat be in foul trouble. So it's tough to predict who's going to go off between Edwards, Cat, and Russell. But in this game, you probably would see at least one, if not 2 of them go off. So a little bit easier to pick. I do like Edwards the way he's been playing. You can also go down to Russell, who's a little bit cheaper at 73. I'm not really picking between Dinwiddie and Brunson. I think just want to see how they kind of play alongside each other. And one of them is definitely going to be taking a hit in terms of usage. Going further down at shooting guard, you have a pretty good price tag on Derek White. He comes off the bench, but there's a chance he closes and will play at least like 30 minutes or so. And then in the value range, not too much here besides like Strus at 34. You can maybe look to like Milton is back for the Sixers, so that looks better. But we'll see how many minutes he gets up to. And then Beasley looks good just because if he is playing well and gets hot off the bench, he's going to get the minutes. So at 37, you can definitely expect him to probably hit value given how good of a matchup it is. And they don't really have... They traded away Ish Smith, so James Bouknight is getting the backup run. He's only $3,300. He's probably looking at least teens to low 20s in minutes. Small forward, keep an eye on Jimmy Butler. If he plays, he looks really good at only 86 going up against Dallas. You expect Giannis to be in there, even though he has the out tag that was from yesterday. You have a good price tag on Buddy Hield. He's only $6,000 given how many minutes that he's played. He shot 1 of 13 from distance, which is really hard to do if you're a guy like Buddy Hield who's known to be a good shooter. On the season, he's shooting just 36%, but that's probably come down at least a couple of percentage points coming off of a 1 of 13 outing. But just a lot of minutes for him at 6K. I definitely think you can look to him, especially with Chris Duarte out, who played just 4 minutes last game. And if there is no Brogdon, then you're going to be looking at a ton of usage for like Haliburton, Hield, and another guy would be Lance Stevenson, who's only $4,000. Expect him to jump into the starting lineup if Brogdon is still not able to play, which, who knows, they're probably just looking to keep him out until the All-Star break, which is right around the corner. He hasn't been able to play in so long. Don't know why they'd probably rush him back when they could have him rest a couple. Well, not that he's rushed back, but the All-Star break is right around the corner, so I'm not expecting him to play. But maybe he plays just because he's going up against his former team. But assuming he's out, you'll probably see Lance Stevenson jump into the starting lineup. Even off the bench, he looks fine, but he'd look a lot better if he's starting at $4,000 in place of Chris Duarte. At power forward, you have some good options at the top end, like Bridges at 76 looks pretty good. Jaren Jackson would look great if there's no John Morant. There's no John Collins, so you're looking at some of the value on Atlanta, especially if Bogdanovich is out as well. You're looking at Hunter. You're probably looking at Gallinari, who really struggled last game, just 5 points and nothing else. He's only $4,500, so he looks okay. You probably want to see at least one other of the guys that are questionable miss before you look to Gallinari. But going in the 4 and 3K range, you have Jalen Smith on the Pacers side, who's also just playing okay minutes off the bench. He got up to 23 last game, going up against the Timberwolves. They don't have Isaiah Jackson. So you'll probably expect at least 20 to 25 minutes out of $3,900 Jalen Smith, and getting out of Phoenix, getting some more playing time. He looks solid. And then Cam Johnson coming from the Phoenix bench. He looks good as well, just given the minutes that he plays. A little bit riskier now that Phoenix is healthy, but does give you some upside there. At center, your top end is Embiid going up against the Celtics. Not the fastest game, should be a good defensive game, low total, but Embiid is always a play against Boston. He has a hatred in his heart for them. Going a bit cheaper here, you have Brissett, who's been playing great for the Pacers. I definitely think you can look to his way at $5,400, especially with no Isaiah Jackson, no Chris Duarte. His minutes are pretty secure. But I'm going to go with Clint Capella at 53. They're going to need his size out there against Cleveland, especially without John Collins. He's done well against Cleveland, averaging 47. He had one monster game against them where he put up over 60 recently, 61. But he only took 4 shots last game. Did get 31 minutes, the first time in a while that he's played over 30 minutes. Expect at least 30 minutes if he's not in foul trouble, if not more than that, just because they don't have too much size besides him and Okongwu. Another play at center would potentially be like Zubats. Is only $4,500. He looks solid going up against Phoenix, going up against McGee and DeAndre Ayton and that big front court. So you'd expect Zubats to get some solid minutes as well. But at the power forward spot, go ahead and put in Brissett just because he's pretty affordable at 54. Indies, they're running a pretty tight rotation, I'd say. Well, at least the core group of guys is playing a lot of minutes with Haliburton, Brissett, Hield, and Stevenson will probably play some good minutes today without Chris Duarte. And then another person I'll plug in at the guard position is an expensive player, but we do have some value that I kind of talked about already. Leads with $4,200 left, but if you plug in Trae Young at a very good price tag at $9,300, I feel pretty good. He's been in the 50s, some 40-point games out of him. He's done fine against Cleveland in 2 meetings. They're at home, and it should be a pretty close game, I'd say. Cleveland has played super well this year. Atlanta, even though they struggled at home at times, I still wouldn't expect them to get blown out with Trae Young. there and playing just massive minutes. So that's about it for the DraftKings side. Looking at the Pacers, especially if Brogdon misses, just because without Brogdon and Chris Duarte, a lot of value there. Looking to get to at least 1 or 2 Hornets, given how good of a matchup it is. You can run it back with a couple of Timberwolves, and then get to some of the Atlanta guys without John Collins, potentially without Bogdanovic as well. That's it for DraftKings. Let's go over to FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel, point guard, your most expensive guy is Luka Doncic. He's had a good tag at 11.5 compared to 12K on DraftKings, but still a little bit of a tough matchup given in Dinwiddie's in. So I don't mind going down to Trae Young instead, or going even further down to guys like LaMelo Ball in the 8K range at only 87. Halliburton is expensive on FanDuel at 9K, but he's still playable just because you can play him at shooting guard as well. But I'd be looking at LaMelo Ball's way at 87. Don't mind getting to Russell at 79. I like Rozier at 75. Wouldn't really look too smart too much with Derek White there. Brogdon is super risky. I'd like to look to Kyle Lowry in the 5K range. Melton, if there is no Ja Morant. And that's basically it. And then Tyus Jones, obviously. At shooting guard, good price tags in the mid-range with your expensive studs. They look good with, like, Booker looks good, Edwards looks good. But in the 6K range, you have a couple of guys that look appealing. In the 7K range, I look to Terry Rozier at 75. But you have Desmond Bane at only 63. Buddy Hield at 6K. Both guys look pretty solid. Man looks better on DraftKings at like $4,600. Melton looks fine. And that's the main pieces I'd be looking at. And then all the way at the bottom, you have like Book Knight as a GPP play. Coffee as a GPP play. If there is no Kennard again, and then like Strus. But here I'll plug in, probably look to like Buddy Hield just because he's pretty affordable. At only 6K, he's going to get a lot of minutes, and he's been getting a ton of shots off and just getting you some rebounds as well. And the first game he had like 8+ assists. Small forward, looking in the mid-range for like Ingram looks solid at 78. Yeah, Bridges at 74 looks fine. Brissett looks better on DraftKings, but still you can look to him just because there's not too many great options at the position. But I like Desmond Bane either way if Ja Morant is in or out, just because he's really affordable at 63. The matchup is solid against the Pelicans, and he's been last game he really erupted with a good game all around. Did have 5 stocks, but before that he was struggling with the shot a little bit. Hopefully that's kind of come back around and can kind of build off of last game's performance where he put up 25 points, and most of that did come in the first half, at least fantasy-wise. Power forward, like Giannis, he's probably like the best spend up, I guess, on this one. You have basically him and Luka you're picking from. He has a better matchup going up against the Pacers. They've been able to stop nobody since forever, but especially since they made that trade, they've given up 2 monster games to opposing teams in just terms of fantasy points and in just terms of real life points. So I'd be looking at Giannis's way. In the 7K range, you have Jared Allen. He just got named an All-Star, so you'll probably expect him to play well today. And then in the value range, I'm not looking at Jalen Smith much. He looks better. I like 39 on DraftKings. 57 is pretty expensive. But I'd look at like Jared Vanderbilt at only 45. He does give you upside there. And then I don't mind going to Batum just because they're shorthanded on bodies. If Kennard's not able to play and Norman Powell is out for a while. So you expect Batum to at least get mid-20s, if not low 30s in minutes. But I'll plug in Giannis as my favorite stud. And at center, Embiid is really the only guy that's expensive. He's the only guy above 10K. He's 11.6. He looks good. You can go to Cat if you wanted to get to a little bit of a cheaper option. Guy in a great matchup. But you have some other guys in the 6K range with Valanciunas at only 67. You can go to Bobby Portis at 66. But Clint Capella is still my guy at 65. Zubats, I look to him on DraftKings. Same thing with Jalen Smith. Montrezl Harrell comes off the bench, but he's going to just take away from Plumlee, take away from Washington. So it's a little bit, I don't think I have interest in any of those 3. I would probably look to Harrell as my favorite. But I feel good about Clint Capella going up against a big Cleveland team. They're going to need his size out there as long as he's not in foul trouble if he gets over 30 minutes, which he should. Expect him to be able to hit value at a good tag at 65 without John Collins. And that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I will see you all next time.